Cold over here, that's tropical. That combination is just explosive when they come together, and that's why we're seeing this happen out there. Sandy is going to intensify because of that temperature difference to 90 miles per hour and make its way toward the Jersey shoreline. No change in the track from the hurricane center. Still going to do that, but that's close enough. 200 miles away is close enough for us to feel these effects. Winds over 30 miles per hour. That's sustained right now. Gusts well over 40 miles per hour. Check that out of the Vineyard. About to be 50 miles per hour in a wind gust. 45 miles per hour at Logan. It's just going down fast. Wind gusts by 10 o'clock will be solidly in the 50s in southeastern Massachusetts and into the 70s at times this afternoon. That's hurricane force winds blowing in here. Things are going to be blowing around. Everything becomes a missile out there when you have winds like that. You got to stay inside if you can. Stay off the roads, too. It's just not safe to drive in conditions like that. Of course, by tomorrow morning at this time, we'll be talking about a windy day, but nothing like we're going to see this afternoon. So consequences, power outages, no doubt about that. We're going to see thousands without power when those winds pick up later on this afternoon. They're already picking up at the strongest winds later on. And those winds are piling the water against the shoreline, so we're getting the coastal flooding. Splash over being reported in Rhode Island on the south coast of Massachusetts. It is on target as far as a storm surge, about a 2 to 2.5 foot storm surge, according to the folks at the Weather Service. 3 to 6 feet is going to be the max. That's going to be later on today, though. That's for the evening high tide, south coast, especially around Westport and points west. That's going to be the worst flooding of the day, I think, because that coincides with the strongest winds coming in. There are your high tides. We are around high tide now on the south coast of Massachusetts, around Westport, New Bedford. The high tide for easternmost Massachusetts, though, will be later on this morning, so we'll be ramping up to that towards noontime, and we're going to see that splash over. So big winds, power outages, coastal flooding, and yes, even some heavy rain, although the heavy rain taking a backseat to everything else. Unlike with the Irene, you remember a year ago, the heavy rain causing the catastrophic flood during the tail end of that storm. Still over 6 inches of rain expected in the mid-Atlantic states. There may be some higher amounts in the higher terrain of New England than the 1.5 inches expected around the Boston area. But even there's a flood watch, and there may be some localized flooding, but I'm not expecting it to be a widespread event. Here's a 7-day forecast just to give you some hope for Halloween. I know you're going to have some cleanup, and it'll just be a windy night for Halloween. It might be a bit showery still, too. Then things get a little better toward the end of the week and certainly toward next weekend. But, boy, we've got a long way to go before we get to that weekend, and we've got a stormy day ahead. We're just getting started. Be with you all day long here on Fox 25 and, of course, at myfoxboston.com. Make sure you stay with us, keep yourself safe, and know all about what's going on.
As Sandy moves Massachusetts, Fox 25 is monitoring every move. If you have questions on air, join the conversation on Fox 25.